Howdy everyone. Welcome back for Booklight, as today we'll take on Chapter 2 of As I Think. We'll begin with opening prayer. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Samasta Janakalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Satgurum Brahma Vidvaram. Hariyam. Now I'll pass it off to our team to introduce Swamiji. Hariyam.
Hariyam, everyone. I would like to take a minute to humbly introduce Swamiji. So Swami Nirbhayananda ji is a teacher at Chinmay Mission Vasai, the upcoming extension of Mumbai. And ever since his posting, the area has seen a steady growth in its activities. Swamiji is proficient in English, Hindi, and Malayalam, and has been conducting workshops in B schools, educational institutions, and corporate offices. He is known for his sessions on parenting, stress buster modules, and talks on human values based on the Bhagavad Gita and the Upanishads. He has addressed seminars on Indian approach to management and also uses movie workshops and outdoor experimental learning through adventurous treks effectively. He has been an inspiration to the Chinmaya Yuva Kendra and the youth wing of Chinmay Mission. And we are all so excited to hear from Swamiji today, and we hope to be inspired by him today. So, Hariyam.
Thank you, Riti. Ramaya Ramabhadraya Ramachandraya Vedase Radhunathaya Nathaya Sitaya Pataye Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pankam Lankayate Girim Yatkripa Tamaham Vande Paramanandamatharam. Hariyam to all the chicks, Shubhani ji and Riddhi. On the outset, may I offer my pranams to Puja Gurudev that let this session be fruitful to you and to me. It has been months now where we have now changed our way of satsangs, where we don't see the participants anymore. We cannot look into their eyes. So, more prayers to Puja Gurudev that may everyone remain healthy. May everyone remain attentive so that we benefit out of the sessions. Every lecture becomes interesting when a story is attached to it. And irrespective of the age, each and every one of us likes stories. Think. Might be gossip or something, but everyone likes some kind of stories. So let us start our session today with a small story to open up the second chapter. There is a beautiful island in India called Rameshwaram. For people who have not heard of this place, it's a place where Bhagavan Rama worshipped the Lord Shiva, close to the state of Tamil Nadu, southern part of India. This island is seated. This island is connected by an approximately 2-kilometer odd long bridge. I'm taking you all back to an incident that happened in 1964. Where only one rail bridge was the communicating link between the island and the mainland. A huge cyclone struck this island and the area between, and the bridge collapsed. The traveling between the island and the mainland got disconnected. It was getting difficult for the pilgrims to reach to the temple. So a young officer, railway officer, at the age of 31, was called in to reconstruct this railway bridge. Now, at a young age, when you have to shoulder such responsibilities, you should be having a lot of credibles. So this young man thought, what is that? What my seniors thought that I have with me. I've just walked into the post and I've been given this job. He said, fine, I'm here to serve. Let me think about it. He was given to complete the task in 6 months. But due to the mounting pressures, immediately the timeline was revised and he was told that you have to complete this entire project in 3 months of time. Now imagine this bridge is not being built on a sea. It is built in the ocean. He started thinking. After taking a review of the place, from 145 girders, 125 girders had broken down. Now to get these girders made and to bring them and get them assembled, what 3 months, what 6 months? Even in 6 months, this process will not finish. It was at that time when the fishermen of that region walked to him and said, we find remains of these bridges, parts of the bridge, in the water. So he went across with them, did an extensive survey with his team to find out that most of the girders are intact in the water. He and his team designed the machineries. Now imagine, I'm not speaking of the modern days. More than 60 years back. They designed the machineries to pull these girders back onto the mainland. Brought in a team of heavy laborers from northern Kerala called Kalasis. Putting the team together, they started repairing the pillars. They started putting the girders back onto the pillars. One girder took 1 day. Slowly, the efficiency started increasing. In a day, 2 girder. Some days later, 3 girders. And the efficiency level of the team had increased to such an extent that in a single day, 8 girders were put across. The rail lines were put across on it. And on the 46th day of the project, he did the first trial of a train on the bridge. Now imagine, it started off with 6 months. He was given the target of 3 months. And the project got completed in 46 days. And the best part is, even today, after 60 odd years, that railway bridge is still serving the country. I hope the story is heard by us. Now, what do we understand and how do we relate the story to our topic? Our topic for discussion, as written by Puja Gurudev, is serve a new religion. Now, please think, in the nature itself, there is so much of wear and tear. Everything in the nature has to change. The mountain changes its shape and size. The economies change. Once upon a time, the best of the culture no more attracts. Okay. That bridge had gone through the wear and tear. It collapsed. Please, it is a human-made structure. Every human-made structure requires maintenance. You cannot think that once you have made something, it's going to remain the same at all point of time. So everything comes about with a lot of changes. The culture also many a times stops attracting the society. Now, please pause and think. Why is the culture no more attracting the society? For that, we have to understand what was the reason to introduce culture into a society. In Pujya Gurudev's own words, good actions done with an intention for the benefit of all for a long period becomes a culture, and when continued comes to be called a religion. So in short, culture has to benefit the society. If culture cannot benefit the society, the culture will be outdated. Ours being the Upanishadic culture, ours being the Upanishadic culture, we are taught to lead the life of Sanatana Dharma. That is, we are taught to lead the life with harmony and perfection. Somewhere very beautifully, I heard the line, God is nothing but perfection. You going away from perfection is you going away from the God. So Upanishadic culture brings us closer to perfection. So culture has to bring us closer to perfection. In the olden days, we had cattle, joint families, and the harmonious way of living was designed all around it. Please. We cannot tell today to the society that now let's go back to the farming. There are newer and newer avenues which have got developed. The economic principles, policies, competitions have come about. Now, how can we make the policies for serving the society? How can we bring about these kind of competitions that are there for healthier living. No, you and I cannot throw away the competitions. You can't say that we cannot have competitions. Think. Now, this is part and parcel of today's world. Now, how can we bring them across with harmony? How can we bring about the perfection? As Puja Gurudev writes very beautifully, this is the age of reasoning and daring to think. Now, our parents have reasoned more than our grandparents. We reason more than our parents. The next generation is going to reason more than what we are reasoning. Now, please, this is going to increase. This is going to increase. It's not going to decrease. And don't tell that, don't reason. It is in reasoning that newer and newer ideas have come about. Think. In the olden days, the culture, the religion was built on unquestioning devotion to the Lord. They didn't question because they weren't exposed as much as today we are exposed to the information world. Think. So questioning was very much limited. Now, as we connect to each other, now think, just few months back, if we had to invite a speaker, we had to look at the logistics, we had to look at the travel, we had to look at the visas, the auditoriums. Haven't the style changed? Haven't the approach changed? Please think. In just 6 months, the very outlook, the very way of presenting has changed. Samsaratihi iti samsaraha. The samsara, this world, will keep changing. We have to retune to achieve perfection. We can't expect the same old method. So in the olden days, there was limitation in the information. The questioning also was limited. Now, there is an information explosion. So questioning also has a rather increased. Now, unless the team, as Puja Gurudev writes over here, as the priest class, that is the teachers, are ready to reinterpret the techniques by which modern man can live with happiness and perfection, they also will become obsolete, and their values also will become obsolete. Reinterpretation of the scriptures are necessary. Think. Now, how to reinterpret is the question. Now, you cannot give a pair of surgical scissors in the hand of the child and say, go reinvent how the surgery has to happen. Can we? We cannot. Then what is Puja Gurudev trying to point out over here? Puja Gurudev in his writing writes that the missionaries must understand whom they are serving. The day-to-day challenges have to be understood. He calls upon the members of Chinmaya family to grow themselves and support and guide the society. What does he mean by growing themselves? Think. It's very important to analyze. It's very important to understand what he meant by grow yourself. A child is asked to grow by himself. What do you mean by what do we mean by that? Not do what the child wants to do. Please. So Gurudev makes it very, very clear. In the last few paragraphs that he writes, he makes it very clear that growing by yourself is not leading a nomadic life. A scientist, an engineer, is asked to go deeper and deeper in the investigation. When a scientist, an engineer, is asked to go deeper, what is the prerequisite? The scientist or the engineer should have attained the knowledge on basis of which he or she can do the investigation. Unless the knowledge is built in, the investigation cannot take place. Okay. You cannot give a car key in the hand of a youth who has never driven a car and said, now start learning. It's not going to be possible. A trainer has to be there. A trainer has to teach you. Now that child later may become a Formula One racer, or he may design a newer and newer vehicles. Think. It is necessary for us to set up certain basic prerequisites. And these prerequisites are, first thing is, be bold. Be bold. If I have not understood something, stand up and raise the question. There is nothing that you and I cannot learn. The pace of learning may differ. The style of learning may differ. But we all can reach. We all can learn. Think. Be truthful. Be truthful to yourself. Hold on to the knowledge. There are chances, because of our past desires and past set of activities, that we may tend to slip. Get back. Be an attentive listener. Be an attentive learner. Hear to what is being taught. Live the life with values. It is very important. What I have heard, I have to start living. Gurudev always used to say, your life, your way of living will speak volumes to you, not to the world. Forget about what the world thinks. Your way of living will speak to you. That is going to give you and me the courage. Think. Serve the society. Become humbler and humbler. Serve the society. Become humbler and humbler. It is very important that we start reducing our ego. The best contributor to the society has got least of the egos. Think. Because till the time the ego and arrogance sits in me, I will never become a good learner. I will never adapt to newer and newer ideas and newer ways. There will be no investigative thinking in me. And when there is no investigative thinking in me, how can my values be helpful to the modern world, to the modern challenges? Think. If it was not for Puja Gurudev, Swami Vivekananda, to come out and open up these scriptures in English, would we be sitting here? If it was not for the different saints and sages to reinterpret the scriptures in the native languages, would the scriptures be so popular? Would people be holding on to them? Think. Every teacher served the society with no ego in them. Every teacher who has marked contributed. Showed that without ego, without arrogance only, you can serve. Now coming back, perfection can be possible only without ego. Perfection keeps changing depending upon the situation and circumstances. So, when we serve, our ego slowly starts getting a hit, bang, and slowly it starts vanishing. As Puja Guruji used to say, can you and I ever think that I have accomplished something? Can we ever have that feeling? I have accomplished by myself. Isn't our teachers, our friends, our parents have contributed? The unknown people have contributed in our life. The nature has contributed in our life for where we have reached. So how can we have the ego that we are the one who is accomplishing something? Serving the society makes us more humbler and humbler. So, Gurudev calls upon everyone in the Chinmaya family to serve the society by growing yourself with these certain values and then serving the society. Look into the example. That young engineer if he had not studied the subject, would he be able to take up the project? If he was not humble enough to walk with the fishermen, to move with them into the waters, would he have found those girders? If he did not build his team across with him, consisting of different people of the society, from laborers to engineers, nothing. it was said these fishermen were the people who dived down in helping in tying these girders for lifting them. If he did not bring that closeness, would this work have been accomplished? Think. Certain things of the society, of the culture, requires to be removed. Certain things are good. It requires to be preserved. Not a sea change. The values will remain same. The way you and I will interpret will change. Think. The pillars which got destroyed were repaired, were reconstructed. In the story, the girders, nothing had happened to them. So they were replaced, maintained and replaced back. Think. So we have to serve with a newer technique. The style of reaching perfection can change, should change. But keeping in the values intact. This is what Puja Gurudev, in short, tried to open the topic, serve a new religion. That is, bring about the cultural renaissance, the way you approach with the core values in your hand. Without values, it's a nomadic living. With core values, bring about the way we reach to perfection. So this is what Puja Gurudev tried to speak to us. Think about this. We have got about 10 minutes in our hand. Is there anyone who wants to ask any questions?
Hari Om Swamiji. Thank you so much for that wonderful presentation of Chapter 2. So for anyone who is participating now in our Zoom, you can please message us and we'll ask Swamiji these questions. So feel free to interact in the Zoom chat and send a message. If you're on Facebook, you have to join us on Zoom. Make sure you join us on Zoom. First question though, Swamiji, actually is from me through actually one of my Balavihar students, which is, Swamiji, Arjuna has the benefit of having Lord Krishna by him during battle, to whom he can ask these questions back and forth. You know, as we go about these reinterpretations or our daily lives, and we don't have a Lord Krishna pocket with us, right? How do we make sure that we're still staying on those values truly?
It is like the common style which I used to tell in my class. Bring about an ideal in our life. An ideal, that is, bring about an idol into our life, which has got a lot of values, and always try seeing, am I standing up to the values? I used to tell the Yuva Kendra children, every act that you do, see from the eyes of Puja Gurudev that did he actually want this to be done like this? So we will get the answer back. We will get the answer of how to reach to perfection. Arjuna had the idol called as Krishna, and he used to speak to that idol. He used to speak to that values. So it is not just the pictorial demonstration of Arjuna and Krishna as two different individuals. They are one. Even in Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan says, Arjuna and me is one. What do you mean by that? Arjuna speaks to the value system within him. Krishna is the value system sitting inside him. So he speaks to the values and then redefines his course of living. I hope I'm clear.
Thank you, Swamiji. One question we have that also came in is, when we're adapting our ways and means, our techniques, how can we be sure that we do not lose the essence?
Can you repeat the question, please?
Swamiji, when we adapt our ways and means, how can one be sure that we do not lose the essence?
Now,
of all the teachings that are there.
it's very important that when different means are adopted, techniques of living is adopted, in our personal growth, are we bringing sorrow to others, or are we bringing joy to others? Adapt. Who said not to adapt? You take up into newer and newer ways, as Gurudev writes in the chapter, but with the intention to serve. That is, your and my every action, every new method for our individual progress should not be at the cost of breaking the society or bringing sorrow to the society. So please bring about the changes, but keep in mind that we have to serve the society. So when these two things go by in tandem, we live a harmonious life. I hope I'm clear.
Swamiji, the next question we have is from Keshav. And Keshav, you can actually unmute directly and ask Swamiji. I think it'll be best if it comes from you. Keshav? Oh, there we go. There.
Hari Om Swamiji.
Carry on.
I missed some of the details in the story. I was wondering if you could go through what was the special thing the engineer did that allowed him to complete the project in 46 days? Was it that he interacted with the fishermen and discovered the girders? I was confused about that versus the broken girders, which which is why the bridge wasn't working in the first place.
First thing, his subjective knowledge about his subject was clear. Even though he was a youngster, he was very clear of what is the engineering all about. Second thing was the humbleness to hear to everyone. As we grow big, we have a tendency only to hear to a class of people. We decide this class we will hear, this team we will not hear. Every individual has got some beautiful lessons for us in life. So the plus was he gave a hearing to the fishermen. Because getting these girders made in Gujarat or in Assam in those days and transporting it to Tamil Nadu was a time-consuming job. So he thought, will these fishermen have something for me? The fisherman actually knows the sea very well. So if they are finding something and they find that it looks good, that's what they told him. He said, let me go and see with my own eyes. His interaction with the team, not sitting as a boss, but sitting as one of the team members. All these things together contributed to the success of that individual. I hope I'm clear.
Okay, Swamiji, we have time for one more question. And this last question comes from Vaibhav. Vaibhav, would you also like to ask your question to Swamiji directly?
Sure. Hari Om Swamiji.
Carry on.
So my question is, when we try to adapt our style of teaching, of course, maintaining those same values, but we run into resistance from the existing structure that's there, who also share these same values, how can we go about making the change and changing the style of teaching?
Can you come up with your question again, please?
Sure. So if we want to make a change in our style, but we run into resistance, how do we go about making that change?
Resistance from whom?
An existing structure that's there. So if we all teach in a certain organization, or we all serve in a certain organization, but we run into some type of a challenge trying to make some type of a change, adapt our style, how can we go about doing that?
See, changes in the society is with respect to its state and condition. You and I living with values, trying to adapt the values in you and me, is up to us. But when we serve the society, it all depends, is the society ready to take up that change? And it depends how the change should be brought in. Think. If I give you an example of a vitrified tiles, a marble, a porcelain ware, a wood, take up any of these things, the style of drilling a hole into all of them will be different. Some may you require a sharp bristle, a sharp point. Some you may require a softer point. On some you may require water introduced. Some may you require a flatter bed. So, bringing about a renaissance is an art. The same style will not work with everything. So we have to understand the need of the society, and as per the need, we have to bring about the perfection. What is the present state? Now, a small child in my Bal Vihar walks across and tells me, Swamiji, my dad doesn't take me to the pizza corner. I want to have pizza. I want to have burgers. Small child, very small child. Think. The way we open up, I told him, it comes in a container box. There are chances that contamination can be there. All that what you are seeing around, the infections, the disease may come across to you. So, Dad is telling that we cannot buy it from outside, we will make it for you at home. The same style of explanation need not be for still smaller child. To a smaller child, I will take you. Oh, yes, Swamiji. When? After 2 years. Done. That's enough. Now, every child doesn't require the same type of explanation. I hope I'm clear. That Renaissance is not according to how I think. It's what the society wants. That is the way the Renaissance have to happen. I hope I'm clear.
Thank you, Swamiji. So that concludes our session with Swamiji. Thank you so much, Swamiji, again. Now we'll just have a quick announcement. First is, you've seen that before our satsangs, for those of you who are joining on Zoom, we are having a Hanuman Chalisa chanting. So please participate. If you would like to be part of that, volunteer sign up where you can use chanters. You know, people who sing well, people who like to do this type of seva, you please come. And we would love to have you 5 minutes before. All you have to do is shoot us an email at our email, our Booklight email. Someone can put that in the chat for us. And we'll have you sign up for our sheet. Next is we have Swami Chidruparananda ji coming next time for our Booklight, Chapter 3, on October 19th and October 20th in India. I will actually share that. Swamiji will be taking next topic, which will be Live and Preach from As I Think. And finally, we will do chanting of Mahamrityunjaya mantra 3 times for wellness and healing during this pandemic. So all together. Om Trambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanan Mrityormukshiyamamritaat Om Trambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanan Mrityormukshiyamamritaat Om Trambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanan Mrityormukshiyamamritaat Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om everyone.
Hari Om.